From the Fans Talk Wrestling family at fanstalkwrestling.com and in collaboration with TNAMecca.com, this is Fans Talk TNA, a weekly conversation about what's going on in the world of TNA and Impact Wrestling. After the episode is over, head on over to TNAMecca.com for more exclusive TNA conversations. This is episode 12, it was recorded on January 13th, 2014. My name is Garvin, and unfortunately, I'm flying solo today. We had some technical difficulties that separated Nick and I. I do not have internet currently, but we needed to get this done because of schedule. So it is what it is. On this episode, we're gonna talk about TNA's debut on Destination America. What I liked, what I didn't like, what I want to see as we move forward, and we're also going to talk a little bit about ratings. So let's start it off. What did TNA do right with their debut of Destination America? So you guys watched it, you know the results, you know everything that took place. I'm going to run down basically my favorite things that took place. At the top of the list, it's going to be the Awesome Kong return. I've not hid the fact that I've been very disappointed with the direction that the Knockouts have gone over the last half of the year, especially once the beautiful people got involved with Taryn Terrell off of TV because she had to take time off. But overall, like, the Knockouts division just didn't have that spark, and we were hoping for great things with Havoc, and it just never took place. But with Awesome Kong back, there's a lot of great opportunities there, especially when you consider Taryn Terrell is your champion. She's ready to go, so you got that potential matchup. You've also got the potential epic continuation of the feud that we all love, which is Gail Kim versus Awesome Kong. Throw in Havoc there. I think Havoc versus Awesome Kong also puts in some nice stories. And, you know, just in general, there's a lot of good vibes coming out of the Knockouts division, especially, you know, you look at the return of Brooke Tessmacher. Now that she's separated from Robbie E, and they're bringing that storyline from The Amazing Race. They're bringing that story into TNA. I think that we can see a lot of cool things. So yeah, overall, a lot of good vibes coming out of the Knockouts now. We also, obviously, the other thing, another major thing as far as how we opened up the show. We opened up the show with the announcement that Kurt Angle was back in active competition. So his first feud is going to be Angle versus MVP, and I'm really looking forward to that just because I think their styles are going to mesh very well, and they both can talk very well on the mic. So, you know, there's a lot of good ways that we can see how this progresses. And, you know, it's no lie, Kurt Angle made it very clear that his contract, this next contract that he was going to sign, which he ended up signing with TNA, was going to be his last wrestling contract, and was most likely only going to be about a year. So to kick off his final year, or his final in-ring action, whatever you want to call that, to kick that off with MVP, I think is a perfect way to do it. Perfect way to showcase what Angle can do. And obviously, hopefully this will put MVP in a good spot moving forward. So really looking forward to that. And obviously that's a continuation from what we already witnessed at the end of last year. So a lot of tension, a lot of good stories to start from. We also saw the debut of Josh Matthews. So Josh Matthews and Taz on commentary, I thought, brought a new vibe to TV. So Josh Matthews, very, very calm and collected, and very, very smart. It was an intelligent. He brings a lot of knowledge to the in-ring action, and it's no it's no attack against Mike Tenay. Obviously, Mike Tenay is the professor; he knows just about as much as anyone else. But it's just a matter of presentation. And I don't know, maybe there was like a little awkward tension between Taz and Josh Matthews, that there was less focus on that back and forth rapport. With Taz and Tenay, they would joke around, and that would bring some life and some energy to the commentary team, but at times it would also draw focus away from what they were there for, and that was to tell the story that was happening in the ring. Tell us why it's important, what we're watching. So this, the combo of Taz and Josh Matthews, I thought brought that. It made the focus in on the ring, or what's being said by the wrestlers, or the overall story arc that we were experiencing. And it also seemed to bring Taz back into a better role. It was almost as if Taz was more focused on what was in the ring. So overall, I thought that worked out very well. We'll see how things progress. If they start joking around, maybe we'll see a little bit that style of rapport that we saw with Taz before with TNA. But for right now, I'm stoked of how they were calling the matches. Speaking of the matches, there was a lot more focus in on the ring this week. Just because of how they lit the ring. Basically the ring had a big giant spotlight on it, and the crowd was in the dark. I don't know how that was for the live crowd. I didn't really read much about that. I know there's a little bit of nitpicky out there, from the IWC as far as why TNA would do that. But I think, pulling the crowd out of the focus and just focusing on the wrestling matches itself, it brought a really cool vibe to it, almost like a Madison Square Garden. I don't know if you guys are basketball fans or have seen any type of events at the Garden, but they do the same thing where you don't see the crowd, you see the action that you paid tickets to go look. So I think that's really cool. It was a nice change of pace. WWE and even TNA last year, you could see that they wanted the focus on the fans, especially in New York. When TNA was in New York, there was a lot of focus on the fans, just the energy, and we still got that. We still heard that with the way the crowd was interacting, the way the crowd was chanting, that there was some focus there, just not the visual side. So I thought that was pretty cool. EY turning on Bobby Roode, I think, is a fantastic story to end TNA this week. Really surprising. I don't know how to feel about it yet because there's a lot of different directions that they can take with this. When I first watched this, it almost felt like EY had partnered up with MVP. So, along with the EY turn, we also saw Samoa Joe and Low Ki partnered up with MVP to basically help cause Bobby Roode to lose to Lashley. And I didn't necessarily know how to feel about that. Just the idea that we're going to have EY and Samoa Joe and Low Ki and MVP and Lashley and Kenny King. Like it's a pretty hefty stable. But to, the idea that, well, maybe EY really wasn't a part of that. I mean, he didn't leave with them. He didn't really come in with them. He just happened to be there right around the same time. But that to me is exciting just because that's something we really haven't seen from EY. It's a different side of EY. And I'm stoked to see what he can end up doing with it. And then also, just that tells us that EY is going to be staying in the main event picture, now fighting Roode, now alluding to the fact that maybe we'll get Samoa Joe in that top picture, or maybe MVP and Angle will move into that picture along with Lashley. So that really makes the world heavyweight title race, very competitive. There's a lot of good talent up there, and we could see all of them holding the titles, and a lot of us would want different members of that group to hold the titles. So a lot of cool stuff. So, and also, before I forget, we should note that with Lashley defeating Bobby Roode, the Fans Talk TNA Championship changed hands. So we now have a new representative of the Fans Talk TNA podcast. So Lashley is your new champion. Very interesting, very quick change of hands of our title. Hopefully that's not the case moving forward, but we'll see. We'll see where this goes. Overall, I got a great vibe out of Impact this week. A lot of stuff to look forward to, and I think that's really a point I want to hit home here. It's the fact that And this is something that we've talked about in previous weeks here on Fans Talk TNA. We've also talked about on the main FTW podcast. I know you may or may not have heard our conversation with Dave Gilbert from Talk TNA podcast, but one of the things that he kept saying was, you want to walk away from a wrestling event or like a wrestling show like you walk away from any other TV show, wanting more, like totally emotionally involved in the story that's being told. And for the longest time, I haven't felt that way about wrestling. I'm enjoying the story that's being told. I'm excited for another episode of Impact because I'm a fan. I'm a fan of wrestling, but I never walk away thinking, my God, I cannot wait till next week to, that energy that we used to have when we were kids, I haven't had that in such the longest time. This week I had it. This week I felt that way. I felt like, the way that Impact ended, I could not wait until next week to find out why did EY turn on Rude? How are they going to move forward with Samoa Joe and Low-Key partnering up? Aren't they competing together against, or against each other for the X Division Championship? How does that affect the X Division in general? There's Awesome Kong coming back. What does that mean for the Knockouts? There's so much to be excited about, and that's how I walked away from Impact. I couldn't believe that, the 2 hours was up. I thought there's got to be another hour at least, right? That's how I walked away from it. So, I'm happy. I'm happy that TNA was able to drive that emotion for me. And I know not everyone in the IWC is feeling the same way. And there are aspects of TNA, especially this week's Impact, that, I felt were somewhat negative, and we'll talk about that. But, overall, I walked away happy. I walked away wanting more, and I cannot wait till next week. So that's what TNA did great this week. That's what they did well. But let's talk about where TNA failed this week, at least for me. And you guys might share the same opinions. Let me know in the comments. But here's where TNA failed this week for me. The first failure, production value could have been better. There was a lot of mistakes, a lot of amateur mistakes. The camera cutting away from JB slapping EC3, that would have been an awesome visual to have, and we didn't get that. The sound production, as far as muting the fans when they were chanting. Yes, they were throwing a lot of expletives, and I'm fine with them being censored, but I'm not fine with how TNA was mixing it. They were censoring the entire show, not just that one side of it. I mean, knowing how TNA has done it in the past, I mean, the last time they were in New York City, they were muting the crowd, but they weren't muting the in-ring mic or the commentary mic. And this week it was, we were losing bits of commentary. We were losing bits of speeches, and we shouldn't have. So I thought that was a major fail, because that caused, just some issues, some context, to be lost during those speeches or during those, monologues or whatever. So, I think that was a fail, but those are two things that can definitely be improved upon. And then the final fail for me is that Austin Aries is your X Division champion. Don't get me wrong. I love watching Austin Aries wrestle. I think he's one of the best on the roster, one of the best in the business right now. But the fact of how they've told the story of him being X Division champion for the last year and a half, this is a travesty. This basically, if they continue the story that they've been telling, where all Austin Aries is going to do is use this as a pawn so that he can get another world title shot, that's a major fail. If they go in that direction, that all they're doing is continuing to ruin the credibility of the X Division Championship. But it is real early to kind of, really predict where they're going to go next. Hopefully that's not the direction they're going to take, but it's all about perception. Right now, that's how I'm perceiving it, is that Austin Aries is just going to use this to inch his way closer to another world title shot. And I don't want to see that. I want to see him face, whoever for the world title. I could totally put him into that title picture. but the X division should not be used for that. So that's a fail. Hopefully that's not the direction they're going to go. Hopefully they erase option C completely off the board, and they really give us, the importance of the X division again. That's something that we haven't really had in 2 years. So hopefully that's the direction they go, but we'll see. Only time will tell. So, let's talk about ratings real quick. I posted this, pretty much all over social media from the FTW podcast accounts, whether that's a Facebook group or Google Plus or Twitter or whatnot. But it's just a matter of what do ratings mean to you as a fan? It seems like, a majority of us walked away from Impact stoked. We were all happy with what we got from TNA. We were looking for more. We cannot wait to this, this upcoming Friday to see what happens next in a lot of these stories. But while all that praise is happening, all that happiness is happening, on the flip side of that, it seems like the IWC continues to push how poorly the ratings are to us, as if that's the most important thing to them, or that should be the most important thing to TNA, or really that's the most important thing to us fans. And I can't see it. I don't understand the importance of this. Why do ratings matter for us as fans? Do they change the way that we watch the show? Do we change, does it change the way we appreciate what we see? I'm sure it changes the way TNA thinks about a show. It might change the way TNA approaches the next show, or, might spur some sparks here and there trying to, figure out ways to improve the ratings. But to say, it was a terrible show because Destination America does not get high ratings to begin with, that doesn't affect the show for me. So I don't know. I want to hear from you guys what you guys think. How do ratings affect the show for you? How do ratings affect your impression of TNA? Let me know. Let me know in the comments. So definitely want to hear what you guys have to say. This upcoming week, so again, we just moved Fans Talk TNA to Thursday. We've got all day to talk about it, all day tomorrow to talk about it as well. But this week, this upcoming Friday, we've got quite a few matches already booked. We've got the Wolves versus Hardys, Austin Aries versus Low Key for the title, so a rematch. And then we also got Tessmacher. She's going to continue her revenge this week against Robbie E. She's going to face off against the Beautiful People, and she's going to bring Taryn Terrell with her. So 3 matches have been announced. There'll probably be another one added. I'm sure we'll get build up in some fashion between Lashley and Rude. Maybe that is your lockdown main event. Only time will tell. But definitely a lot of cool stuff to look forward to, and obviously the continuation of Kong's story back in TNA. What is she going to do? The continuation of EY and his turn. What does that mean to the whole picture? And hopefully we'll get more Angle versus MVP, because that's a damn good story. So we'll see. Also Rockstar Spud, what is he going to do now that JB is bald? Will JB be on TV now that he's bald? How does that all play into the whole story? A lot of stuff to look forward to, so cannot wait. And for our final thoughts, obviously Nick is not here. Hopefully we can get all this stuff resolved, all these technical difficulties resolved. Hopefully I'll get internet back. But my final thought is, if you can help it, avoid spoilers at all costs. We had someone on our Facebook group spoil the Awesome Kong return for us, and it would have meant so much more if we were surprised by it. If we didn't know ahead of time that she was coming in, just witnessed it. I just think if we had witnessed it for the first time on TV, I think that would have been fantastic. So do anything and everything in your power to avoid spoilers. Definite huge shout out to TNAMecca.com for doing everything in their power to keep spoilers off of the website. We do the same thing as often as we can on our Facebook group, and we never spread spoilers. We never talk about spoilers because, like many of you, we want to watch it for the first time. We want to know about it for the first time together when we're watching it on TV. So, yeah, that's it. Final thought. Avoid spoilers if you can. Obviously, the next 6 weeks or so have been taped. So it's going to be hard, but we'll find a way. We'll find a way. So, and that's the show. We'll be reading and responding to your comments all day on TNAMecca.com. So let's continue the conversation over there. You can also check out fanstalkwrestling.com for more information about us and how to get involved in the future. For Nick, this is Garvin saying goodbye. We'll see you next Thursday. Enjoy Impact, everybody. See you later.